So September's, the kind of month that we want to start getting everybody in line for what you're planning for the rest of the year, as well as what you're planning into next year. How you want to break out your business, what you want your business to look like. So today we're going to start talking a little bit about the structure of a business plan, and you may pick up pieces of it that you like and pick up pieces that you don't like. You may, sorry, I guess you could pick up pieces that you like and eliminate pieces you don't like. Um, so but there's a structure there that any minimal structure, any minimal pieces that you're able to use to help set you in line with next year, I think can be beneficial. Over the next couple of months, what we'll be doing is looking at a variety of different pieces of the business plan. I've got some video segments regarding um, practice skills and elevating your business, database management and mastery, um, things, tax strategies, trying to make sure you get your skill sets going. So we'll talk a little about negotiations. We'll try and identify tools that you might be able to work with. So I pulled a bunch of videos from previous meetings, NAR sessions, and Florida Realtor sessions that I think can be beneficial. And it's another voice, so you don't have to listen to me. But some of the videos are 25 or 30 minutes, others are 60 minutes. But the goal would be to maybe cover a couple in a session and get some ideas and feedback, and then kind of see what y'all think and see if it can help you. I've got a segment on AI too. So um, since I'm not the expert, I thought we'd bring other experts in to talk about these pieces just to try and facilitate your business planning. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with the business plan. Hopefully you see the business plan in front of you now.
Yes.
That was just sent to you via chat. And it's pretty straightforward in talking about it. So let me step back and ask one question. In 24, did either of you do any business planning for 25? Did you lay out any things that you would like to accomplish this year or any goals that you had in mind for this year?
No,
Okay.
I didn't.
Years
Well,
past, I did. This year, that I did not because I didn't even come close to any of my goals. So I was just like, I'm not doing it.
yeah, and that's totally understand that. That's exactly why. I mean, 23 and 24 were very odd and challenging years. So I think a lot of us got to a point where we were saying, I don't know that I want a business plan because I feel like I'm off track, and it depresses me to see what I had planned versus where I'm at. And I think, and then what happens is we just don't do it. Bonnie, I know that you have a lot of repeat business, and Diane, you've set yourself up for a lot of repeat business, but you're also expanding into other areas, which is kind of cool. So figuring out how you want to manage those pieces, I think, becomes important. So I'm going to challenge us I'm doing it because I got a little bit out of it myself for us. I'm trying to get a calendar for next year all set up for our business partners and be better about making sure the topics are out there earlier for our trainings. And so those are some of the things that I'll be working on. So I'm not asking you to do anything that I'm not trying to do myself. For 2026, which can be a challenge in itself. Um, in the past, when you guys have done business planning, what have you found that you liked about it, and what have you found that you didn't like about it?
I did like that I did review it every month to see where I was lacking. My first year, I set a goal of transactions and then so it held me liable. I was like, well, where am I going to get these transactions? But now that I've done price, it's kind of harder for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it might be. I mean, I think one of the reasons it might be harder is a lot of your business right now is referral business or past customer business.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know how to talk to them.
Mhm.
and we feel uncomfortable reaching out to them. And so I think sometimes that's part of it. Um, Bonnie, did you have one thing you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think that, most of my business is repeat and referral. And I think it's the easiest thing that I've done forever is just keep in touch with the customers. Send uh, send a calendar Christmas, send an anniversary card on the purchase of their house. If I have their birthdays, which I try and get, send them a text, just something um, that's that reminds them that I'm still in the business.
Well, and I
Um,
think one of the things I think you have always done well is your newsletter, but I don't know if you're doing the newsletter anymore.
no, I stopped doing the newsletter when I gave up a farm area.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't um, it wasn't getting me any business. So,
Okay.
which is, the purpose of the newsletter is to generate business, and it wasn't. So, what I did though was for those people who had reached out to me because of the newsletter, they now get my magnetic calendars.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's a magnetic calendar. It has sticking power. It's on the refrigerator all year. And I'll get calls starting in early November asking about it, asking if they can have a second, wondering why they even haven't received it yet. And so, so that keeps me in touch with people who I know paid attention to the newsletter. But most of my business is repeat and referral.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's because I somehow keep in touch with them.
Well, I mean, I think that's a huge part of it is that when you keep in touch with someone, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Mhm,
But our challenge is keeping in touch with them. We'll talk about how often you need to keep in touch with them each year, which has gone up. And that's because of the different media forms
mhm.
that people are using. So we used to talk about, oh, 9 times a month or,
A
how
month,
that, huh?
9 times a month.
Yeah, you should be sending out something 9 times a month. Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll also talk about, roughly 46 times a year is how often you should be contacting each primary target. So for example, if you've got a list of 200 people and you've got 50 that are your top, your most, either the people that give you most referrals or the people who you feel are the most likely to be buying or selling, those top 50 are looking at roughly 46 times a year. And then your second tier, similar to that. So kind of what we want to be looking at is for next year, when you're trying to see what you want to do for next year, is really kind of what is your vision for how it's going to play out? I think that when you look at what your plan is for next year, you got to have some sort of a vision, um, like that whole speak it into existence type of thing, visualizing. And this isn't necessarily related to a vision or mission statement, although those help keep you on track. This is kind of like how you visually see your business playing out next year. The hardest thing I think we have to adjust to is our mindset. We're coming off of 2.5 years of challenging real estate business, and the market is really kind of balanced out a little bit, but we're working at not only adjusting our mindset, but how we deal with the mindset of the other parties. Sellers are still feeling that they should be getting multiple offers above asking price in 2 days. Yet our average days on the market is reaching out to 65, 75 days on the market. Our buyers are still thinking, well, with the higher interest rates, I should be able to get a better deal. And even if the interest rates come down, now, interesting thing that I've seen in the last week is an increase in showings. I don't know if either of you, trying to remember if you have something on listing right now, But what I'm seeing is in showing time and also just on that Miramar San Jose listing, San Marco listing, increase in the number of showings. Now we're working at almost 70 days on the market, I think it is. And I had kind of hoped, oh gosh, over that. I had thought that we would be under contract by 60, but we started out too high. So I think that's a definite issue. So you're dealing with the mindset of everybody, your mindset, buyer's mindset, seller's mindset, consumer mindset, misinformation. So I think that's our biggest challenge right now is addressing the mindset of all of this other noise. And then the process. The process has changed just so much. It just between new documents and in case you guys aren't aware, there's a new lawsuit in the state of Florida where 13 different MLSs and boards are named. And the lawsuit is that related to the fact that agents are not getting buyer agreements prior to showing properties. So the person who filed the suit has, I guess, a bunch of different texts and emails from agents not asking for buyer agreements or explaining the process of needing a buyer agreement. So helping our buyers and sellers understand the process becomes so important, but we have to understand our process first. Each of the three of us may have a different way of dealing with buyers or a different way of dealing with sellers, but we have to get that process down. We have to get it in writing. We have to have it double checked. We have to be able to explain it. And we have to make sure that we're following the rules and guidelines that our industry is setting for us right now. And really what comes from that are the habits that we try to create, whether it's creating a buyer consult or a seller consult and then practicing it with family members, friends, other realtors, critiquing each other on it. I think that becomes so important because if we don't get the habits down, not only the prospecting habits, but the process habits, the writing the offer habits. I can't tell you how many people are still leaving off flood disclosure. Flood disclosure is required, and that's mostly on offers that we're receiving, since those people don't have it automatically placed into their documents. But noticing that, and it's hard. What I'll say is it's hard with these new processes to create habits for ourselves, not only in the prospecting element, but the business development element, but the process of doing business. Because when we get an offer, if the agent on the other side hasn't put the flood disclosure on there, we need to add the flood disclosure. We can't wait and add it 3 days later or 4 days later or 5 days later, because that changes the acceptance date. That potentially changes the acceptance date because you're now adding a document that was supposed to have been there and executed at the time of contract. Anyway, all of this is being said because we know that if we have a vision, we adjust our mindset, we know our processes, we create our habits, that's where we truly get results. Do either of you want to say anything about that? Does that make sense? Do we look to figure out new opportunities? Either of you having challenges with the process or the habits right now?
No, I've been pretty good.
Yeah, I'm talking to two people who are usually pretty good with their files and understanding. And the other good thing is you both are good at explaining things too. So being able to explain it to somebody else, one of us versus your customers, makes it easier for them to understand also. All right, well, let's just talk about where we are now. We got to analyze kind of everything that we're at, and that's here in September. I can't believe we're in September already. Kind of taking a look to see where we are now, and that's kind of all the pieces. So when we look at where we are now, we need to kind of look at all of it. where's our personal growth? And this side, this red, whatever these two colors are, um, all the way over to whatever color this is. What color is this? Purple or is it blue?
It's purple. I know you're colorblind, so
Yeah. Are these blues?
blue and like a lavender, like
Okay.
purplish.
So, so like if you come all the way, if we look at there's one, two, three, well, four, five, six, seven things out of the eight that are really dealing with trying to keep yourself balanced before we even talk about career. So we need to kind of figure out where we are here. I mean, if I'm looking at health, I know that I'm down here. I haven't gone to the gym for a month. I can't figure out what my eating habits are wrong. Fortunately, I don't have high blood pressure or high cholesterol right now, so yay me. But I'm probably down in here because I don't feel healthy, which is where I should be up here. So if I'm down here, I know I need to do a lot of work here. If I career-wise, I feel like I'm closer to here, then this is seems to have a good balance. But how does that manage with my friends? Where am I with spirituality or religion or whatever you want to call it? Um, what about personal growth? What kinds of things, not just related to career, but what kinds of things am I looking at for personal growth? I mean, if we truly want to retire someplace out of the country, do I need to start speaking that language? And then do we have the financial means to do that? And Ben drives me crazy, so this is probably way up here. No, I'm just kidding. And then fun leisure. I mean, so everything matters, but seven of the eight pie pieces are something other than career. So trying to find the balance, because if we've got one, like if I'm filling out this section here, but this section's over here, and this section's up over here, and then this section is down here, I'm not getting my wheel very well balanced. So we kind of got to look at this first, because this is where we set not only the vision, but the mindset. So one of the things we'll be asking you to do is to complete um, a couple of these pieces in throughout this business plan. And then what I'd like to do is get those of us who are participating in it together to talk about it. So if our wheels were way out of balance, what are we doing to get it back into balance? Or what do we need to do to help it? Sometimes career and money are related, or personal growth. Is it financially stimulated? In other words, to be able to do personal growth, do we have to have the finances? What piece is on your bucket list? A friend of mine just went to Scotland, and she said it was definitely a bucket list trip. So, or getting out to Wyoming to see the kids and grandkids, or Diane just making sure that you've got oh, Diane's way over. Diane's got to really look at the money because she's got a big wedding coming up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my son is getting married, so I have to. We're paying for the wedding, so it's yeah. Didn't realize how expensive weddings are now.
Oh my God. Huh.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'll see my numbers going up this year.
Um, yeah, the nice thing about being the mother of the groom is you basically stand there and take compliments. You really don't have a whole lot else to do.
Yeah.
Well, culturally, I guess Diane was sharing with me that it's the groom's family. Is that
Yeah, so
right?
we host the wedding in our
Oh my
culture. So
gosh. Oh
yeah,
no.
so it's a little odd because you feel weird because the bride is still planning the wedding. So I've given them a budget and they just have to, they they just have to, communicate with me about what we're doing.
Is it local? Will it at least be in Jacksonville or
It
does it
is.
have to
It's
be in
local. So, I
Okay.
mean, all the major things have been booked already. So now we had a meeting on Thursday. So I have a wedding coordinator. So they're moving along. So we're fine. I'm not stressed about it.
Oh, that's good. Well, you're a very detail-oriented person, so I know it will be beautiful. What's the venue you chose or they chose?
They chose the Hyatt. So they're going to be
Oh, that's
married
right. You mentioned
downtown.
that.
Yeah, they wanted the ability for everyone to spend the night. So that was
Sure.
important on them.
Mhm.
Like my daughter's dating and kind of serious, so she'd rather have a smaller venue. Like I know that that's going to change.
After seeing this one, I'm sure that will change.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at 350 or 375, so
Oh my
yeah, it'll be
God,
interesting.
What, Bonnie?
a huge wedding.
Yeah, we have a big family and lots of
Even
friends.
so, oh my God.
Yeah, that's why you'll be seeing me with higher numbers this year because I have to. So money is a motivator.
So, so, um, you bring up I mean, first, congratulations to your son and his bride. I think that's wonderful, and I know you have already put so much into it. But you also bring up two things. This can change, and it can change on a moment's notice. I mean, it can change if something good or tough happens. It can change if so. We have to constantly be looking at this. Not constantly. We have to look at it, check back in with it on a regular basis, just like we would with any of our plans, and kind of see where we are because you may feel pressure, monetarily. And this is not accurate, but your monetary may be lower right now because you know that you've got these big expenses coming up, but the expense goes away and your monetary may go up significantly. So, and that may not be the best example, but um, for me, for health, if I can get back working out more regularly, I think I'll feel a lot better. And my problem is I used to be great at getting up at 5 and going in the morning in between 4 and 5. And now I seem to lag in the morning. So I try to do it in the afternoon and then work pops in and everything gets thrown off. So I have to figure out how to find the better balance with that. But this people hate doing this, but we really need to kind of figure out on the wheel, where's the balance, where are we imbalance? So what do we need to take away from to help another area, or what kinds of things can we do to help an area? I mean, one thing, if an area were low, I just shared that. So if I were to be able to work out, I could probably go from here up to here if I were working out more regularly, right? So it's one thing that I can do to really make a change in how I feel about my health. Um, and I think it's important to see that too, that it doesn't have to be a bunch of stuff that you have to do because it's all going to play out um, in where you want to be, right? So if we look at where we are versus where we want to be, we can identify. So what we'd like you to do is take a look at this and use one color for where you are and another color for where you want to be. And that's going to show you where the differences are, where the greatest differences are. And then you can identify those areas that you may need to adjust a little bit so that you can have a better balance um, in your wheel. Now, if your significant other and you are way up here, I don't know that you want to take too much away from that. But you want to find those places that you can make some adjustments that aren't going to gravely impact the things that are going well, but one or two things that you can do to increase or help those pieces that you may be challenged on to have a better balance in your wheel. And we're doing this again because we want to have a vision and a mindset that's strong, because those are the basic foundations for what we do for the rest of it and creating habits for the best results. That being said, this is where we look at is, how do we get there? Where do I need to invest new energy? So what pieces, if I look at those 8 pieces of the wheel, where would I be putting them in here? So do I need to invest new energy in things that are going well? Do I need to keep them the same? Do I need to keep them the same, but they're going poorly? Do I need to invest new energy in things that are going poorly? I would think that things that are going poorly, you'd want to invest some new energy in. And those things, the things in this box should be those things that are going to help enhance your mindset. Um, I mean, when we talk about the tasks, we look at something like our mindset, and we're looking at something like our career, maybe we want to stay away from certain types of media, or maybe we want to use only certain types of media. So that might be where we would want to invest some new energy, invest more time in Inman News or Riz Media, since those seem to be comprehensive real estate data versus even the Wall Street Journal is really good. That article was good. Thanks, Bonnie.
Oh, you're welcome.
And that's a pretty neutral source, but finding those sources that are somewhat neutral that will give you both sides of particular situations. I mean, I'm constantly amazed in social media. I just watched Compass is the brokerage that's been challenging clear cooperation so much, and I just saw a video, it was either on TikTok or on a reel, that was a Compass agent speaking about clear cooperation and had so many things wrong. And I'm thinking, okay, your brokerage is you're working with a brokerage that continues to want to adjust clear cooperation, wants to keep pocket listings so that the general market doesn't see them, to quote unquote test a price point. Yet could you be wasting your seller's time? You're not thinking about it from that side. And the things that this individual was saying were like, wow, that is so far off base. But okay, now I see why you believe that this is a better path than what 95% of agents are looking to do. And try and get the sellers the strongest, greatest number of eyes to potentially get the best terms and conditions. And we get it that every so often there's a reason to have something off the market, but getting the most eyes could potentially get your seller the best opportunity. And oh, guess what? There are suits about that also now. There were 2 or 3 buyer suits that came up on the West Coast. And then there's another seller suit regarding their listing not getting into MLS. So they believe that they did not get the most that they could get for their property. So I'm going to back up a little bit to here. This mindset is so important on these 3 things here. And the mindset in the industry versus outside the industry, there's still people that don't realize that the process changed over a year ago. I'm constantly amazed at agents that say, well, you don't have to do that about getting a buyer broker agreement. I just had a call from one of our agents today that said, this agent down in Miami, my cousin's wants to see this property and they've never signed anything. They've never mentioned anything. The agent never talked about a buyer's broker agreement. Anyway, and we're getting scrutinized a lot right now. So just be aware. So you want your processes to be strong. And that's why I think getting together to talk about our processes is important, because we can learn from each other on things that we're doing to try and keep each other safe, kind of in our business as well as with our business. So this would be one of those other things we want to ask you to put together and then bring back so we can talk about and not necessarily share deep, dark secrets, but be able to share to see how we're doing or where we think we can improve. Not only for us to help you, but in your business, because if I see something consistently happening here and, invest new energy and going poorly, maybe these are the things that I need to focus trainings on. Going well and invest new training, same difference. So this side is kind of helps me understand where you guys feel like you might either be missing out or things that you would like to focus on to help your business develop further. And then comes the career part. So we need you to look at, over the past year. So you would be taking fourth quarter of last year through the first 3 quarters of this year and kind of seeing where you are. How many listings did you take? What was the average list price? What was the average sold price? What was your average sales price? So all of this, you can get from your information that you have. You probably, if you've done any tracking, if you haven't, just let me know. We can get that for you. We obviously have it all in reports that we can share with you. Your list price to sales price percentage. Notice average list price, list to sales price percentage. Excuse me. Those two things are things that you should be able to use to market. So when we start to talk about what am I saying in my marketing, these are key factors that sellers should want to see, because this tells them that you price things well, or that if the average number of days on the market is 70 and you went under contract in 50, this is telling them that you understand how to prep the house, get the house under contract, get the house sold. Expired or canceled listings, listings taken to sold percentage. So what's your fall through percentage? These are all great things that can be some you can use in marketing, but these are key performance indicators that you can use to set your plan for this year. And of course, you want to look at the same thing or similar things for your buyers. How many buyers did you close? What was the average sales price? What was your commission? What was your average commission rate? This is going to be key in helping to identify the number of transactions that you're going to want to do buy versus sell side next year, in 2026. So we got to look at our business, and this isn't too arduous. What I would like you to do is potentially notate what some of your resources are. Bonnie's probably going to be about 80 to 90% referral, similar to you, Diane, but or past customer. And break those out, please. Referral versus past customer, break those out. So look at your sources also, please, because we do want to do the good old SWOT analysis. And Bonnie is laughing already. Great. I hate strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I don't know why. Some of those terms like threats, it's negative, weakness, negative. I like how when I found this chart, harmful factors, in other words, things that keep us from being successful. Helpful factors, things that help us be successful. And strengths and challenges instead of weaknesses, these would be internal factors. And these would be opportunities, and threats would be external factors. Not internal like you in your own self, but internal factors that you can control better versus external factors that may be impacting how you do your business. So it's a challenging thing, but we need to start looking at those helpful and harmful things that are going on, that some we can control and others we can't. So when we find those things that we can't control as well, we have an opportunity to take a look at them and really delve into, if I can't impact it, or how can I impact it, even if minimally, and will that make a difference in the outcome of what I'm trying to do here? So the SWOT analysis is always a challenge, but it's a good thing to take a look at. So what helpful factors that I can control and helpful factors that I don't have as much control on, harmful factors, internal versus harmful, like a harmful factor external would be media. I don't care whether it's social media, news media, there is so much misinformation out there that's going to be something that you have to figure out how to combat in your talk, in your consultations, in your processes, so that you can usurp any of or as much of the negative as possible. And by establishing your processes, you're able to show your ability to not only overcome, but to stay above some of those threats, some of those harmful external pieces that you don't have as much control over. So focus on these additional definers. harmful, helpful, internal, external. That's what we're really looking for in your strengths, challenges, opportunities, and threats.
Clark,
Yeah.
I started to play around with the Domus Analytics and
Oh,
found that it works. In my experience, it's worked best trying to explain how local the market really is. That what happens in Avondale is different than what happens in Mandarin.
I think that's fantastic.
And
Can you,
if I use those numbers, because I'm not, because they look good, in terms of the presentation looks good. I think the people that I've been talking to about it have a better understanding and might believe it more than what they read in any paper or whatever else their source of information is. Because I think that in this kind of a market, that's critical. That Avondale was like the last, in my experience, Avondale was the last market to slow down. It was really good here up until a couple of months ago, and then it sort of caught up. But that's also seems to be what always happens here. And it's different than a whole lot, most of the other neighborhoods in the area.
I think that's a great example of the things that we can start to do. When you start to talk about the things that you want to send out or that you want to use to connect with your customer base, I think that is a great thing. So do you do one with Avondale and then one with Mandarin or another market?
Depends on who I'm talking to, so that if somebody said something specifically about,
Yeah.
I'll give you Mandarin because a friend of mine just sold her house there, and she went on about, what she was sharing was really what she was reading in the papers and had nothing to do with Jacksonville or little to do with Jacksonville. So I
Yeah.
started to give her those numbers and
Okay.
also told her that, days on the market are longer than they were a year ago. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it is the reality of it. Have you?
yeah, and so, but that's what's helped. And the other thing that I'll do is if I have a sense that somebody might be thinking about selling their home, then I'll start sending them numbers. Oh, this just came on the market in your neighborhood. Thought you might be interested. And it gives me a chance to touch base with them. And it gives them the chance to see what pricing is like. But it's random. I have no system to do it. I'm the first to admit that.
Let me
It's
ask,
Well,
Bonnie, do you text them or do you email them or it just depends on the client?
I usually send them the listing so they can see it, they can see the pictures.
So
Um,
that's through an email or do you text it to them?
I usually email them
Okay.
with a note that says something like, "Hey, I'm sure you already know this, but the house, 4 houses away from you,
Mm-hmm.
here are the details that I can give you." And started by saying, "Yeah, you probably already know this."
Okay, that's great.
but Diane, have you used Domus Analytics at all?
I've played with it. I'm not as familiar as I want to be with it. I'm having a hard time getting the numbers. Used to have, I told you this already, that we
Yeah.
used to have another form of InfoSpark, and I used to love it,
Yeah.
and it's gone. I mean, even if you pay Zillow or whoever for it, showing time,
Yeah.
it's not the same that it used to be. So I'm missing it, and I think I'm still mad, and I haven't embraced the other one yet because I know that the old system was really good.
I got to tell you, I really like Domus Analytics though, because with just a couple of clicks, you can create an infographic that is relatable for a consumer versus someone in the industry. It makes it really, for me, it really puts the visual in front of someone. And I think that using it as a way to demonstrate the differentiation in markets is good. I think it's also a great way just to show because you can do a 13-month tracking. you can, I mean, there's so many different pieces that you can look at. And when I first went into it, I was kind of overwhelmed and kind of shut it down just because I thought this doesn't make any sense to me. And then as I played with it, I'm like, oh, wow. So I can compare this. You can even go down to a more granular level on um, home style, not home style, but like bedrooms and bathroom type of stuff, where you can get what's selling more quickly, which is, I think is great information to be able to share. Plus, because we're so overwhelmed with all these different media formats, I don't have to spend a lot of time in Domus and get something that looks pretty to send out quickly, either or post and send, um, which I like. That's a reason I like it. But yeah,
I'll
I'm glad to hear
definitely
you're using
review
it,
it.
Bonnie.
Yeah, there's a really good training video through MLS. I think it's on YouTube, and it was easy to follow.
Okay.
I took some notes, sort of played with it while he was talking, and it was easier to pick up than I thought it would be. So
Okay.
it's
I'll
easier to
definitely
use
check it
than I
out.
thought it would be.
I think it was the area that I was looking at. There really wasn't any for any sales. And so it was yeah, it was frustrating because it's like I'm not getting any data from it. So I need to revisit it with my new listings and see where we are with those. And I do a weekly for my listings, I do a weekly text to the buyer, I mean to the sellers to let them know what's going on so that I can incorporate into, what's happening in their very small market and where they live or they're selling.
Well, I'm loving that you guys are talking about different tools. And what I also do like about Domus Analytics is I can create it to be a post so that it goes in the format that's fine, that works for Reels and also for Facebook.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
so it's friendly in that way. And I could do a couple of things in Domus Analytics and then schedule them on my Facebook so that I've got regular things going out with Facebook. I know that I think Diane, you said you had done keeping current matters and you've stepped away from that and are looking at a couple of other options. Is that correct?
I stepped away from keeping current matters about a year ago and I was doing room view and I just stepped away from that. So I'm doing my own postings now. So yes, I will be doing it a month at a time, doing
Oh, see, that's great.
scheduling. Hmm.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's just making sure you dedicate that day, a week or two before, just in case you have to change it.
Yeah, you know how I like this, so I know.
Yeah. So, oh, I love it. Okay, so, um, you know, something that I mean, it could be an internal factor that's a strength of the resources through MLS like Domus Analytics. It could also be an external factor because it comes from third party. Domus Analytics could be an opportunity on something you'd want to use in that sense in business. So thank you for bringing that up because I think it's a great resource to utilize. So I love it. So when we go to the next piece, if we know where we've come from, now we do the tough part. We start to set the goals for 2026. Um, Identify your top three sources for business in the past 12 months. So I think both of you would probably be looking at past customers and referral.
Mhm.
They're another resource, a third resource that either of you are thinking about using or are considering using or have dabbled in and now want to make it more a part of your business growth.
I don't know. I'm always
My,
looking at other things, but I don't know yet. I have to do research and then commit to it. So I usually give it 6 months commitment.
Yeah, but I mean, you're fortunate with your breadth of knowledge in commercial.
Hmm.
That's a great breakout. I mean, if you did past customers residential, referrals residential, and commercial lease or sale,
Hmm.
I think that'd be dynamic for you. The only
Yeah.
challenge is then you've got to make sure you're breaking it out, with what the what percentage would you like as you identify your gross commission income? What would you like percentage to come from the two different categories?
Right. I mean, we've been talking about this since I started, so you know that it's hard to
Mhm.
come up with the percentages. They're never
And
what you think they're going to be for the
yeah,
next year.
I know, but what's so great is they can change. So if you said, 60/40 residential versus commercial, and now you're doing, after the first quarter, you find that you're doing 60/40, you can level them out to 55/45 or, whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
Um, and that's the great thing about a business plan is it doesn't have to be static. It should be reviewed on a regular basis. And we can do that if either of you are interested, since you guys are the only two here right now. We can set up regular business meetings for accountability and review. So that's not a problem. So your gross commission income, and then your personal income, because remember the gross commission income is, for example, if you sold a house with a 3% 3% compensation, then that would be $3,000 coming in, but your compensation may be 2,700 or whatever it happens to be. So what's your office commission, or excuse me, your gross commission income versus your personal income? How do those two play out? And then what's your sales volume goal? Now, volume is a tough one, especially with the fluctuating compensation right now. That's why what you're looking at what your average compensation is currently over the last 12 months. You'll be able to see if it's been increasing or decreasing. And it's interesting, our listings are staying strong in that, 2.5 to 3% range. Our sales are staying more in the 2 to 2.5 range, where it was kind of a little closer to 2.5 to 3 before a year ago, August, which is interesting. So it has adjusted the buyer's commitment and the seller's willingness to pay a buyer a certain amount. We're still only working at about 5 or 7% of the time that a buyer pays a differential. So that's still kind of low. Then the number of transactions that you would like to do. So work harder or work smarter, not harder. And then what's your database goal? In other words, if you're at 200 in your database now, what would you like to be by the end of next year? Where would you like to be? How would you like to see that grow? You may say 0. You may say only by 10%. You may say by, double. So, what is your database goal? Because this is what gives you the opportunities to reach out. And then what community impact is your community impact goal? When we looked at the wheel, 7 of the 8 things are really more personally related. So in order to have balance, you're probably going to remain involved in your community in some way, shape, or form. And that can be a cultural community, a spiritual community, it can be a reading community. I mean, whatever community you feel you're connected to. The goal here is within those communities, what kind of an impact would you like to have? What would be your idea or goal in participating in that community? How do you see that playing out? And there's an organic or natural growth that comes from your community involvement that brings you business. So that alone can be a challenge, an opportunity or business opportunity for you. And then we move into our visioning. So my personal vision for 2026, what is that vision? In other words, when we identified that, excuse me, a vision is part of the base of what builds that pyramid for you, what is that vision? And it doesn't have to be, don't think about this as writing your vision statement. Think about this as describing your vision for next year. We can write a vision statement out of what your description is, but in this, my personal vision for 2026 is I would like to see more of a description of what visual picture you're creating for how business looks for you next year and what it means for you personally. Does it mean you'll have more free time? Does it mean more flexibility or, you know, an income property, whatever happens to be. Then you can create your own mission statement. Remember, your mission statement should be short, doesn't have to be long, couple sentences maybe. And what do you see as your mission? And let's try and stay away from, be the number one in this, or, be the most someone who does the most. Think about what you really want your mission to be, providing X or developing Y, or um, whatever you think your mission statement is. And your mission statement doesn't have to be fully real estate business related. This is your real estate business plan, but it's going to impact other parts of your life, as well as how other parts of your life are going to impact your real estate business. So think about, when you're thinking about your mission statement, think about as a whole how your business that you've started, your real estate business, how you feel that's going to impact your personal, or how you would like to see it impact your personal life. How will I inspire and empower others? Do you want to do any mentoring? Are you considering any mentoring? Do you think about a team? Do you think about bringing other people in? Or are you involved in organizations or groups where your expertise, your knowledge, your experience becomes something, or is something that that group looks to? So how will you inspire friends, family, customers? How will you inspire them in 2026? And then what are your professional development goals? So this is specifically related to your career. What are your professional development goals? Do you want to get an additional designation? Do you want to get an additional license? Do you want to get, I don't know, do you want to participate in some other professional development community? So related to real estate, is there something else? For example, if you went and got your senior real estate specialist, SRES designation, are there other professional development things that you could do, like get involved at a nursing home with the financial director, or lead some sort of financial analysis or financial recommendation seminar for seniors at 3 different senior care centers? Think about what your professional development goal is, and that's mostly related to you, not necessarily related to the business that comes out of it, but what things would you like to do to develop your professionalism, to develop your business, that are going to have things that you can do to help build that business that you're working on so hard. And a lot of where that comes from is identifying what your business core values are. So here's a list of quite a few core values. And what I'd like you to do is kind of go through this, and initially on this page, either yellow, highlight or circle or something, the areas, those values that you find most most encouraging, most motivating. And then you're going to have to break that down into 7 core values that are your top 7 of those. Let's say you come up with 12. So now you have to list your top 7. And from that, you're going to have to eliminate 3. So we're going to be down to 4 values, 4 core values. And the great thing about those 4 core values is that's where we can really refine our mission and vision statements, and then lay the pathwork for how we want our business to look and feel, and also potentially create a more succinct or well thought out mission, or so eliminating those 3 values. And then what you end up with is those 4 core values, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what is the core value and what does that mean? So once you identify these core values, and let's say you take trust. So if trust ends up being one of your top 4, so here's the core value, trust, then what does trust really mean to you? Does it mean creating a long-term relationship? Does it mean getting referrals? Does trust mean someone can ensure that when you say something, your word is your bond, and you're speaking from an accurate standpoint rather than pulled from thin air standpoint? can people, well, what does trust mean to you? So if that were one of your top four, then you would identify that core value and what it really means to you to encompass that, or to have that a part of your core. So you identify those core values, those four core values, and then you're going to figure out one thing, which is your goal or focus. Following. What's your goal? What's your one goal what's your one goal for work? What's your one goal in to do? And what's your one goal in to learn, as well as home, family, and friends, and income? So these relate back to those um, eight wheel sections, pie sections of the wheel. And you can begin to identify what that one thing is. So hopefully, as we looked at where we are now versus where we want to be on that wheel, and then when we started to look at the SWOTs and we started to figure out where we were career-wise, that eighth piece of the wheel, we now begin to see what it is that we can do in each piece to increase or hold it the same, or make an adjustment to it if necessary, from our personal, our work, our to-do, our learning, our home, family, our friends, and our income. So everything begins to tie together, not only build on it from the pyramid, but build on itself as well. Because how will you get there are those actions. Remember, if we're trying to get our mindset right by understanding a little bit about how to balance our wheel better, that we know the processes, not only within our industry, but within our mind, that we have to work on to create those habits that give us the results, those habits that are personal and professional, so that we can see how the vision and mindset will allow these other three to become more readily available to us and more easily explained to people. Because what I think that we forget is that our customers want to hear that we're doing something, but what is it that they want to hear, and how do they want to hear it? And where, where are we explaining this to them? Where are we sharing that? And here's the thing that I was talking about a little earlier was your client engagement. You're talking about 46 interactions annually, and people get very overwhelmed by this. 46 times. How am I going to contact Bonnie 46 times in a year? How am I going to contact Diane 46 times in a year? Well, the good thing is there are economies of scale. So if there's a tool that you like, that you feel is good, that works for your business, demonstrates a little bit about who you are in business, you can use that tool to manage a lot of these interactions. So you'll see an example here would be in the first quarter, that individual gets one phone call or one face-to-face meeting. I would really focus on the face-to-face meetings as much as possible. We're still in a nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes, face-to-face business. Then there are 9 direct mail contacts. So 9 direct mail contacts. The good thing is if you break these up into other media, or into the different types of mailer media, like hard copy mailing, social media mailing, posting, all of that can fall into this category. So now you've got 9 times in that first quarter that you got, so that's 3 times a month technically in the first quarter. This is a great way to get into your mind about what kinds of things you're going to need to do. And then a personal note card. Handwritten note cards go such a long way. I think it's important to be able to see just how much traction you can get. I'll write some note cards every so often, and I'm really pleased about the way you get a response from people, and what their response, how excited their response is. So again, this is every person, every quarter. So every person, every quarter, every person, every quarter, 3 and 4. What questions do you have about this? Because this is a good example of what where we're trying to get to as you set goals for next year.
I think it's a lot.
You think it's a lot for one person or a lot for to do or
Well, a lot, I don't know that it's a lot to do because you can set a lot of this up, like the mailers, you could just reach out to a company and they'll automatically do that. You tell them when. But I think that if I heard from somebody 46 times in a year, I I don't know. I don't want to hear from somebody 46 times a year unless I'm related to them or have no choice in the matter. Um, I mean, it's like it's to me, it's a lot. To me, um, a personal note card works. Sending something works. What I've been doing works. I don't know that how much I'd want to increase it, other than I don't know how much I'd want to increase it. To me, 46 seems to be a lot.
Okay.
I agree. I know that it depends on the age of the clients. Older clients would think that this was being a little too aggressive, and they don't they don't like to be bombarded with ideas or um with I mean it just depends on how quick the touch is or you know, there's other ways to do it where it may not feel as that you're even reaching out to them, but it's a lot.
I I agree that it can seem like a lot. Think about this is over 12 months though. So even in the first quarter, you're making a one phone call or doing a one face-to-face meeting. So for the first quarter, I did a phone call. The second quarter, I could do a face-to-face meeting so I can divvy it up. If you're doing 9 direct mail contacts, that's 3 per month. So that's not even one a week. And it can be something that is sent out automatically for you or that you repost or post directly to these individuals that are on your list, your high-end list or high on your target list, and then a personal note card a quarter. So I get where it may seem overwhelming. I think that it would seem to me that the biggest part is going to be the 9 direct mailers and what are those and does it have to be 9? I think um, is one of the things that I kind of agree with you on is that seems like a lot 3 times a month in a quarter seems like a lot. But when you consider that someone's getting hit with anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000 messages per day, how do we stay above the clutter a little bit?
Well, we don't want to become the clutter.
Right.
Good
So
point.
that's where
A
we're
really
saying
good point.
we want to be impactful for what we say. We don't want to just be sending out stuff to be sending out stuff, if that makes sense.
Completely makes sense. But I mean, I think that you can insert things in these direct mailers that are going to be relevant and not just junk.
Okay.
So if I make a phone call and let me push over to that. What if what if one of those 9 was a market update? Here's the annual, you're on the anniversary of their home purchase. Bonnie mentioned sending, excuse me, an anniversary card. What if
Yeah.
in addition to the anniversary card of their home purchase, you send a home health update, an annual home health evaluation or annual home health update, which just is a basic CMA that shows where the value of their home went over the last year. So that could be one of the 9 mailers. Or if you're sending mailers, what are you sending? Stuff that people are going to keep. So we know that consumers keep information about homes that have sold. We know that they keep information about homes that are available. What else? Numbers. What else do consumers keep?
Well, Bonnie had said that she mails out magnets or
Yeah,
Calendars. Yeah.
calendars. So
like
25 years I've been doing it. And I'm going to tell you, it is
football calendars.
no
Oh,
just regular
recipe,
oh,
recipe ones, okay.
a new recipe every month. If I think about it, I'll make the recipe and post it with a calendar on
That's
Facebook,
cute.
maybe. But that's, you know, that's the one thing I've consistently done since I got licensed, and it works. And the other stuff, and anniversary cards, I consistently do, and everything else is kind of random. You know, if I'm in a neighborhood where I sold a house, you know, X number of years ago, that might push me to reach out to the buyer or seller who I sold in that neighborhood X number of years ago. But I still look at this 46 times a year. It's like I can't see me doing it. I should do more, but not that much.
Okay. That's fair. If I can get you to do a couple more than you're currently doing, I think it can make a difference. If you're not in line with 46, I get it. But this is a combination of a bunch of research
Mhm.
and the amount of times that people are being hit with ads and everything else, and what it takes to kind of rise above a lot of the noise that our customers are getting, that prevents them from remembering that we're also a realtor. So however you want to break it out, this kind of shows the four categories, what
Mhm.
a market update and annual, which could be either email updates or annual. I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Bonnie?
No, no.
Um,
In fact, I have to go. I'm meeting Nancy Ryan for lunch this afternoon.
oh, Nancy Ryan, is that what you said?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I have
cool.
to
Okay.
go. I've got to finish
Okay.
getting some stuff together, and I'm meeting her at noon. So
All right. Well, please print this out, and what we'll do is we'll set
I
time.
downloaded it. I'm going to print it
Okay.
out. And thank you.
All
I
right.
got some really good ideas.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thanks.
So I get that 46 seems like a lot, but if you break it out, it's really not. If you're doing your monthly posts, you're already doing one thing a month
Okay.
that people are connecting to, but it has to be a specific target. Um, so if you had if you had 200 on your list, pulling out 50 that you were targeting, there may be economies of scale, but you're already doing stuff to keep your name top of mind, which is what's the most important piece. And she kind of backed off at a perfect point, because the next piece is just really starting to outline your goals by month. What is the goal for January? What focus areas are you going to have? What are the good things that you want to remember? Where do you want to improve a little bit? And what other notes do you want to make? So this is where that analysis of your business becomes very important, because you want to see, is there any, or has there been any seasonality to your business? And I'll tell you that our seasonality as a market has really shifted. I really thought at the beginning of this year we were going to start to see a more traditional seasonality,
Mhm.
but we're not. We're seeing kind of a 60 to 120 day, 60 to 90, maybe almost a quarter lag time in how business used to happen versus how it's happening now. Uh, so going by month may be overly detailed, but if you can see what has been working or hasn't been working month over month, or a task that you want to focus on, you may be able to find a way to make that more relevant during certain months of the year. So
Mhm.
if you do a quarterly newsletter, what month within the quarter do you send it out? If you are, if one of the things that you're trying to improve on is customer contact, then is that, coffee? Is it a note? Is it a pop by visit? Is it um, them coming to an office with you somewhere? I mean, to review stuff. So what is it that you want to do each month to either help set the pace? And so in doing this and completing this kind of booklet, I would say please don't go any further than first quarter when it comes to these monthly,
Okay.
because exactly what you said earlier is true. Whatever I start to put into play or whatever I start to work with, I need to give it time before I change it. So, and that's not to say that if in January I started a certain task and I found that I got a lot more noise or awareness out there, haven't gotten the customers yet from it, but I might go ahead and make that more a larger piece of what I do marketing wise in second quarter versus first quarter. And there might be something that I pull away, like you were saying, evaluate, and if you need to get rid of it, you need to get rid of it.
All right.
So then it's going month by month just to kind of see what you've got, where you're looking at. But again, in completing this, please don't go any farther than first quarter at this time. Okay. So this is kind of the booklet and how it lays out and why the different pieces are here. So what I'm going to do is hopefully there's a couple more people who said they weren't going to be able to make it, but may want to get a copy of the business planning booklet. So I'm going to look to mid or late September, early October for a date that we can get together to review business plans, because I'm thinking that maybe some of the goals in your business plan may change after we talk about a few things.
Mhm.
So I'll be sending out, and we'll be adding some training dates just for business planning, but I'll be sending out notices about things like lead generation, working I have a couple segments on lead generation, a couple segments on branding, a bunch of segments on business planning. So those are kind of places that I'm trying to focus um, in helping you guys develop your business plan or enhance what current business plan you may have.
Yeah, this is helpful. Appreciate you putting this out for us.
So thoughts on it so far, other than that, thoughts that you want to share or don't share, or um, I know it's going to be hard for you with all the stuff you have going on,
No,
but
but this is why I'm trying to stay focused on what I need to do so that I have a plan and that, I know what I need to get done each month. And especially with me taking on social media, I'm still out there looking to see if there's a better person to take on
like
that. But meanwhile, it'll be me.
take on what? Sorry, you blanked.
Social
I'm
media,
sorry, take on what? You blanked out.
social
Oh,
media,
okay.
because I've always
Yeah,
had
did
someone
we?
doing it for me, but I don't like what they're putting out there so much, and I need it to be more personable. So working on that.
Yeah, did you talk to Maria? Maybe I need to
No,
talk to her
not yet.
too.
I haven't because everything that's been going on, I
Yeah,
haven't been able to.
yeah. So, do you have a timeline for when your dad may be out of the hospital?
Don't know. By the end of the week, hopefully.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be heading up there now and relieving my mom for a little while,
Good.
but I'll have my computer up there, so I'm gonna be working on things while I can. That's usually what I do. I've had to work from the hospital many times, so and I've got a lot of people helping me with my current listings, like Nick was awesome helping me with the open house. We did get a lot of people out there. So
Did you?
yeah, I mean, we got
That's
five
great.
good groups of people. I mean, we did do it only for a 2 hour window, but the people that wanted to see the house were there right when we opened. And for the
Oh,
first
wow.
hour, we had five groups there at a time. So me and Nick were bouncing back and forth between them all because,
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, it's a big house and it's 10 acres. So we were like revisiting them and seeing if they had questions and stuff like that. So um, there's some good prospects. So we're working on them.
Wow. Okay, so you're experiencing something similar, a little bit more activity, maybe. Are you experiencing more showings, or was that just the open house?
No, it's just the open house. We weren't getting showings. There's a 12-hour window that they need to book showings.
Okay.
So I thought the open house was a good way to get people who may not be ready to work with a realtor in. And that's what I found. A lot of them were not working with anybody. Two of the groups have been looking for like 2 years, just haven't found what they were looking for. So they were kind of maybes and kind of like the idea of the property.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, and then there was one couple that was really, really interested, and she was FaceTiming a family member that wanted to live with them on the property. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was good. Nick and I are following up with all of them. I probably will touch out to him to see if he needs me to help him reach out to anybody, but because he's going to be handling the buyer side. Um,
Oh, okay.
we that was just our agreement. So
Sure.
he's reaching out to them. I think it works well for me because now
Oh,
I have
yeah. Yeah.
someone. I mean, because if I have to be out there to show the property and I can't make it, I know that Nick would go out there and show it. So,
Perfect.
hmm
And so, I mean, and I think that's another piece of what we're looking at here is when we get to our processes, what makes sense?
hmm
When do I bring in someone else? Do I bring in a licensed person, an unlicensed person? Do I need help? Do I need help at open houses? Where do I need assistance? Where am I going to get the greatest return? You know,
Yeah, no, it's important. I mean, we can't grow, we can't be everywhere at the same time. So
yeah,
we have to learn and set our goals and how we're going to get there, now so that when we do need some help, we have it in place.
yes, yeah, true.
So it's good.
Okay. All right. So if were you able to download this? I'm sorry, let me ask that first.
I did, and I actually printed it. That's why I went mute for a little
Okay.
bit because my printer's a little bit loud. So I was
Oh,
writing
okay.
notes on some of the
Okay.
items as we were going through it. So it was good. I like doing this. I do have my
Yeah,
spreadsheet that I keep from each
I
year
know.
to
Yeah.
see. And it's funny because you're like, I remember asking you last year, well, like, what goals do I do? You said just repeat what you did last year. So actually, that's helping me. I need to look at that again, um,
Okay.
and see where I'm at. I think I'm pretty close to where I wanted to be in 2023. I think it was that we set that goal, and it just all
Yeah.
went crazy. So I mean, we're moving in the right direction. I have to keep going.
Yeah. Which I think is perfect. I mean, I think that duplicating last year to this year was probably the best way to go.
Yeah, that's why I haven't really looked at it because I already know what my number was. I've been trying to hit the same number for a little bit, so
That's
I'm
great.
I should be able to do that and do more this year.
Okay.
So then I'm going to be looking into next year and where am I going to get, some of those transactions. My
Sure.
sphere was it helped a lot. I think I got to the number of years to make people comfortable within my sphere to actually start using me and word's getting out. So, I've got repeat sales happening. So that's good. I mean, this is at year 5, that's what I should be seeing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Uh, I think you're right on target. So, I mean, I think you've seen a little bit of flat level, but you've also had a big increase too. So,
Yeah. Oh, it's coming along. I just got to remember, like, when life is getting crazy, I still have to reach out and 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 start communicating with people again.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good point. And there's lots to talk about right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some buyers I've been working with for 2.5 years. They haven't found what makes it sense to them yet to do it, to
Yeah.
become a first-time home buyer. So I mean, they were at my seminar and I'm showing them properties now down in, New Smyrna because that's where they want to move. So we'll keep doing what we do.
Yes, that's true.
But
And then it
it,
becomes the challenge in what we do. So the habits that we create to get the results. So
yeah, I mean, do we see a lot more changes coming into the paperwork? I mean, I know we had recently we had another up, but I mean, are we going to just constantly be changing still?
you're talking about the condo writer as the most
Yeah,
recent?
the condo writers and just everything. And like, I might have to just do this on a side note. It's like with the whole
Here, I can, let
pre-showings
me go
and,
ahead. Let
okay.
me go ahead and stop that. Let me go ahead and pause this. Then we can keep up the conversation. Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, with the whole sh coming soon and what MLS is doing, like
Hmm.
I'm a little bit foggy about what we have to do. So with our waiver of entry, are we still good? And we're just going to say when we're putting it on the MLS that that's when the contract date was for the
Um,
MLS, so that
it's
it
gonna
pushes out to
right,
Zillow.
right now it is, but as of September 30th, it will change. And that's
Okay.
their 3 sessions with the new paperwork
Uh-huh.
that MLS is offering. I'll try and get those dates out to everyone, and then maybe I'll try
Okay.
and review it at the business meeting.
Okay.
But that process will change a little bit now. All 3 options will be on one sheet of paper. Well, not, I mean, I think it's 2 pages long. And then you and the seller consult with how you're gonna manage it. And then, so you would keep it out of the market and it would go active on the market. It would go on the market on a certain date. And that, when it goes on that date, you could use coming soon or active.
Okay.
And coming soon will end up being a maximum of 30 days.
Okay.
No extensions, no difference. It will automatically be 30 days. And if you want to go active early, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, waiver event
Okay.
coming soon.
Yeah, I've learned I did the mistake on that last townhouse. I did it
That was my
for
fault. I,
no, it was for a specific date. And then I was like, oh, I got scared because I sent them a text. And like when I was traveling back home, it's like, are you guys ready to go live tomorrow? And they're like, I just in case had modified the coming soon. And I was, trying just in case they said no, they're not, that I could, and I emailed it to myself so that I could just take the link and text it to them to initial the change and date. But now that I know that you can put it on before that time, it's best just to go ahead and put it out for the 30 days, or for at least 2 weeks and not, I did it a week ahead of
yeah,
time
the 21 days is now, well,
right now. Yeah.
and then 30 days will be after September 30th.
Yeah, so it was funny because Nifar reached out to me when it was coming soon to reiterate that it's 21 days and that if I needed an extension from when I had put it in, just to email her and let her know and she can extend it.
Yeah.
So it was good that they're reaching out to remind us. I had Googled it 100 times of what the
Right.
coming soon was at this moment, amount of days. The problem is one of the sellers, they're getting a divorce. So one of them is moving
Yeah.
out this next weekend. So I just actually, when we were on this call, I texted her, like I had texted them this morning about their weekly update on, we didn't get any showings. And I said, I think it has a lot to do with that you guys are only giving me, like, I have to give 12 hours notice. People are not good about planning their days. So we may be losing showings by doing that. So she's moving out on the 6th. So once she moves out with the pets, we will be good to show with like within an hour or
Okay.
so. I mean, I'm working with them to try to get it done. And
Yeah.
yeah, because they're getting a divorce, I feel like I have to communicate with each one of them separately. It's like having two separate transactions happening at the same time. But this has become my life. This is my 4th divorce that I've done. So I know.
Yeah, I don't know that you want to make that a specialty, but you know,
And usually, I know my kids were like, okay, does that mean that you're finding them 2 other places to live? And I was like, no, they're both moving out, and one's moving to Miami and one's moving back to London. So no,
oh,
I'm not helping
well,
them.
okay.
Yeah, but
Um,
usually it does mean that there's more transactions from that.
yeah, well, I mean, that would be nice too, but the only thing is evaluate whether because of your specialty, I hate to say this, but there are attorneys that specialize in divorce and you might want to contact one of them and
Hmm.
talk about creating a partnership.
Yeah, I've been working on trying to figure out what I want to do. I think that I need to do more of the um those meet and greets, like being when me and Lisa did the attorneys like for the luncheon for the Florida bar. Um, that was just a great opportunity. I feel like I need to do more of those kind of um booths where we're there for informational, we're giving a giveaway and just connect with people more, and
Oh,
especially on
yeah.
the professional side, because all of them were attorneys. So I was trained at the time, I was looking at probate. So I was reaching out to all the probate attorneys that I met at the event and saying, I would love to show how I could help your clients and this and that. So, I mean, nothing came of that, but you got to keep trying.
Yeah.
So,
No, and I mean, if you end up going the way of divorce, I mean, not you, but
yeah.
yeah.
But just helping people because I have a compassion I think that other people
Oh,
don't
definitely.
understand. So I do well in those circumstances
Yeah,
because I usually make the time, and I know it takes a lot more time with a client that is going through one of the other, one of those things.
exactly. I mean, you pegged it. You have a lot of compassion, so I think that's you can use that to your advantage as a tool, a selling
Hmm.
tool, if you will. Um,
Yeah.
so,
So, and then on the commercial side, I mean, I did do that CIM class that was in
oh,
at Newbar.
CCIM?
Yeah, so that was really good. I came to realize that I do know a lot more than I thought I did, so it's fine. I was always so worried about what I was doing, but and I made some great connections there, like you
Oh,
said.
cool.
So, other realtors that are working Springfield area and stuff like that, we may meet up and start seeing, how we
Oh,
can help
very
each
cool.
other. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that come from that, and I do want to get my certification. I think that would help me because I mean, I hate to say it, women in the industry, in the commercial side, it's a lot harder because
Oh,
they, and I know this, I've been in my own small business my whole life, and you should have seen the things that I heard when I was opening up my business from people just thinking that, oh, there's no way you'll make it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, thanks.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, I'm used to going up against the grain. I don't know. I grew up with all girls in our family, and my dad took me on as his son. So I'm a little bit, at advantage because I've learned a lot of the business side from him.
Oh, sure, which is huge.
Yeah, so there's not, I mean, it's fine. And I think my uncle is seeing because they have commercial properties and he never uses me. Like when I first started, I tried to sell one of their properties and he just wouldn't have it. He doesn't think that I can do it. And it's so funny because he ended up using a commercial realtor that I know. And we went out to dinner and he was like laughing. He goes, I don't know why your uncle's using me and not you. And I started laughing. I said, well, I just want to thank you because I don't want to deal with him. And he started laughing and he goes, oh, I can understand why. And so it's just funny because it's like, I think he's coming to realize that I know a lot more than he thinks I know. And so he just, I'm just proving it to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just funny. Family's funny when they come to that kind of thing. But yeah, he
family
has
is
me.
funny when that is very true. Family is definitely funny when they come to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking for another investment property at one point, for a condo before the condo industry went crazy. So he was using me to show him property then. So he knows that I keep things private. So he's learning that I don't put things out there. So it's good. I mean, because he, like I said, I need proof of funding. And he's like, I really don't want to show you that. I go, well, and we can't write an offer. So you better just
Good
show
for
it to
you.
me. I
Good
mean,
for you.
it's just, it is what it is. And then he's like, starts to tell me, well, it's really, it's somebody else's money. And I knew who it was. And I was like, I get that. It is what it is. Your money's tied up. You will pay him back when you can, cash out some of your
Yeah.
investments. I said, that's something that nobody else needs to know. And
Right.
he knows that I kept that quiet. So it is what it is. So he's starting to come around, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna have to because if something happens to my dad, he's gonna have to deal with me anyway. So it's
Well, there
just,
you go.
I know. So he better get used to it. And like, they're dealing with overseas real estate right now. My dad was actually supposed to be flying next week to go overseas to give power of attorney to a attorney there to sell some property. And it's Um, it's just been difficult because they don't want to look at me as equal. And I'm like, well, eventually I am going to be. So just going to
Yeah.
have to realize that you're going to have to deal with me one point or another.
And where is this overseas that they go?
It's actually in the West Bank. So it's in the middle of a
Oh, good
war.
Lord.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. I didn't want my dad to go or my mom. They wanted me to go with them, and I'm like, I can't do that right now. And so he made the decision to go on his own. I mean, go with my mom and his brother on their own. And then when all this happened, I go, how many signs from God do you need to say that you should not be going? You know?
Uh,
And
now is
then
not the time.
yeah, no, I mean, there's a war. There's, his health. There was a lot of factors. Like, when he fell, I said, God, had you fall so that you would realize you can't go and you still didn't listen and you still wanted to go. Then he put you in the hospital. I mean, and then like they invaded the town that they were going into
Oh,
um
good Lord.
recently, like the same day between him going to the hospital and everything. And I just said, okay, how many more signs do you need that you do not need to be going?
Right.
And
Right, right,
so,
right.
yeah. And so finally they came to conclusion, and then my uncle's still going. And I'm like, okay, good for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's like, I still have to go. I mean, they're in the process of selling one piece of property. So they can't, there's no embassy here in the United States. So they would have to fly to Canada or Mexico to actually do power of attorney. And at this point, they're just gonna go over, he's gonna take power of attorney from my dad and then deal with it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's just
A
it's really
challenging place to be going to have transaction.
yeah, but they're just, it's just a scary place because it's just what land they have left that hasn't been taken by the Israelis will probably be taken by the Israelis in the next year or two. And
Oh,
there's not much we can
gosh.
do because it's happened already. They actually, my
Excuse
great
me.
grandfather owns a lot of property there. He was a good businessman and he was able to buy up a lot of stuff when he was younger. And so this has been in the family for 3 generations.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's just, this is part of the reason why I wanted to go into real estate is I needed to know more about all this stuff because of my family, and being able to handle all this.
Well, yeah, I mean, even though it's different there, it's still when you have the basics of it down, you at least
Hmm.
know how to negotiate a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there are still similar concepts, but, just a lot different dealing with different countries and stuff
Yeah, yeah,
in the middle of a war. So yeah,
yeah,
it's always
yeah.
interesting.
I know I'm hearing mixed things in Greece about whether I have to have a bank account there before I buy, or I can use a bank account here. So
So how do you find out for sure? Like, I mean, do you reach out to a closing attorney there to find out more, or how does that work?
well, now I just go to our friends.
Okay, yeah, because they bought there already, so you knew. But
Well,
does
yeah, he's Greek, and
Mhm.
so they have, I mean, they already had accounts there, and then the one who bought and built had to open an account there. But
Okay.
now I understand some of the rules have changed, and so I'm not sure if you still have to have a bank account there first, is the thing. So,
It'd probably be best to do something like that, but then remember how the Greece economy was so
oh,
bad that they talking about
tanked, just
bankruptcy?
tanked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it was scary. So it's like you don't want to put all your money over there and then something happened like that and then it's gone because I don't think that they insure it like they do here. So
No, they don't. They don't.
yeah, so it's
And
scary trying.
the taxes seem to fluctuate so greatly too there.
Yeah. And I know when you were talking about retiring someone else, I knew it would be Greece. So
Well, and now we've opened up to a couple of other locations that are close to Greece so that we
oh,
can,
okay.
I mean, so
That's
within
cool.
an hour flight, we could,
Get there.
Ben wants to retire in Morocco. I'm like,
Oh, nice.
where did that come?
But unstable too, but
Yeah. Anyway, we had a wonderful time in Morocco when we were there. So I think that's why I'm like, okay, let's go back and then you can decide.
right, exactly. Because that was your first time there, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
But
you need to
it
stay a
was
little bit
great.
longer.
It was great. I mean, it was,
Hmm.
anyway.
I know we're trying to figure out, like, we keep saying, why are we staying here? We need to go live somewhere else. So, yeah.
I know. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you for
All right. Well, we'll talk
the
to you
planning
later.
review. Yes, I will. I'll keep you posted on everything. Thank you.
No worries. It's always good to talk to you. Thanks for your input too.
Thanks. I'll talk to you
See
soon.
you
Bye.
later. Have a good day.